New York Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Nabers can elevate quarterback Daniel Jones in 2024. We're going to talk about this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a senior draft analyst, and thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today. An everyday shot for being our everydayers. And you know I got to kick this intro to my guy, Mr. LSU himself, Keith Sanchez. You can find and follow him on X at The Talent Code. Keep talking to him, baby.
What's up, Locked On family? Let's get locked in. This is Keith Sanchez, 2019 national champion, and the other side to this dynamic duo that we like to call the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, where we are the number one source for everything NFL Draft content. I want to say shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day, man. Hit the like button. Go ahead and comment after each segment, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel with the best NFL draft content out there. DP, we're talking about Malik Nabers. Can he help Daniel Jones out? Is he the best wide receiver that Daniel Jones ever had, and can he help him out? And then we're going to talk about which rookie cornerback, right, has the opportunity to make an impact and start right away. And then how do you value rookie minicamps? We're going to have a fun conversation, man. But before we get started, I want to just say, man, we about to have some fun with this show, DP. We about to have a lot of fun with this show. We about to have a good time. So let's get it started, man. Malik Nabers, can he elevate Daniel Jones? I'm going to pass it to you.
Keith, I think he can elevate Daniel Jones. And the reason why is because of how fluid he is in terms of where you can align Malik, right? I think he had 1,500 yards in 2023 for your LSU Tigers with Jaden Daniels, right? But 990 of those yards came out of the slot. So being able to move him from that Z spot to the X to that slot spot, I don't think he's an X route receiver. I think he's going to be that Z in that slot. The slot where you give Malik Nabers a two-way go with Brian Daboll, scheming up throws and routes and concepts. I think giving him this type of option where we know he's a elite to near elite run after catch weapon in terms of, Malik Nabers, the speed, the burst, the acceleration, the strength after the catch, the ability to really fight through and fight for extra yards, but his ability to get open quickly underneath in the quick game to allow for those type of opportunities, right? Where I think Daniel Jones, I think his accuracy down the field, the further, don't get me wrong, I mean, as we know, like deep throws, the completion percentage or chance to complete them dwindle the further you throw downfield. If I remember correctly, Daniel Jones never been a great down the field thrower. And when you look at his numbers overall, Keith, this is a guy, and I think you've mentioned it before, the most yards he ever threw in the season was 3,200. That was 2022. That was his best year. That was Brian Daboll's first year as the head coach. I think Malik Nabers could absolutely help Daniel Jones. Truthfully, if I'm Daniel Jones, you better play well and allow him to help you, because if not, there is no excuse for inaccuracy and bad ball placement and bad decision making when you do have a playmaker that you can move around and find different ways to get him the football.
Yeah. So can Malik Nabers help elevate Daniel Jones? I think yes, in situations, right? And the thing is relying on Malik Nabers to turn a screen into a 30-yard play, right? Like if I look at it from that perspective, I think that's how he helps Daniel Jones, right? Is the run after the catch ability can be very important for Daniel Jones, and just having a playmaker on the outside. And then now that leans itself to, okay, what is Brian Daboll going to do, right? Because if he just, like you said, use Malik Nabers in the slot and runs vertical routes with him and forces Daniel Jones to make difficult plays and passes, right, then it won't happen, right? Like that's not Daniel Jones' bag, right? But if he, like I said, short throws, intermediate throws, able to scheme Malik Nabers open and then get the ball in his hands quickly and then allow him to make the plays, that's how he converts Daniel Jones. First of all, his completion percentage, right? His completion percentage will go up, but then also his yards per game can probably go up, right? Passing yards per game, because you put in the easy passes for him. So it's going to be a combination of Malik Nabers, but Brian Daboll is going to have to scheme up the right situations to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think even going back to that slot situation with Malik Nabers, I think in terms of like being a quote unquote needle mover, an attention grabber for the defense, Keith, putting him in the slot where you're gonna pull coverage, wherever he go, like when he's releases. So if he's going across the middle, that safety has to, hey, we got to clamp down on him because of how explosive he is after the catch. We can't just let him catch it in space and then turn up the sideline and start beating guys with angles, right? He's a 4-3, high 4-3, low 4-4 type of guy. And I think that's when it also opens up space and room and opportunity for the rest of those guys, right? Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, and kind of makes Daniel Jones throws to them a little bit easier. Because if you think about throwing a deep over route or running a deep over route from the slot with Malik Nabers, but you running a slant backside or behind that, right, with Darius Slayton, that slant's probably going to be open. That slant's going to have space where if you put him outside, the route concepts and how he can dictate coverage and open everybody else up, it dwindles just a little bit. And I think that's where I think Daniel Jones has probably is probably a better thrower between, like in the middle of the field, between the numbers, things of that nature, than throwing outside as much. So I think just his ability to dominate from the slot with a two-way go, that run after catch ability, the speed, the strength. Now, the only thing about it is I don't think Malik is going to help him at the catch point as much if the passes are off target. You know what I mean? Like those, when we look at Marv, when we look at Rome, we look at Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, those guys, if it's helmet or higher or it's a little bit too high, not just because of the leaping ability, but the body type, the frame, the arm length, and just their dominance at the catch point, I don't see that projecting well for Malik. I think he's a guy that you want to get it somewhere in his vicinity, close enough to where he can make that play and immediately go into run after catch mode. And I think that's what Daniel Jones, like you said, because to your point, Keith, 2022, that best season, like, and not even just that, I'll go back 2019, his completion percentage, 62. 2020, 62.5. 2021, 64.3. In 2022, when Brian Daboll, he had 67% completion percentage, still only threw 15 touchdowns. He's only thrown for plus 20 touchdowns once in his career, and that was as a rookie, right? So Brian Daboll has already shown that I can give you these easy throws. We just need to get and upgrade the weaponry to make it easier on you as well. And then also that kind of makes it a little bit easier on the old line because they don't have to block for an extended amount of time when he could just get the ball out and just allow the playmakers to make plays. And that's going to start with Malik Nabers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, DP. The Malik Nabers situation should be funny. It should be fun to see how they elevate. I mean, if I'm a Giants fan, I still wish they would have kept Saquon Barkley because you have Saquon and Malik Nabers. Now you potentially giving Daniel Jones more and more weapons, but you potentially swapped out one high-level weapon for another, which does that mean that we got better, right? So
and they might lose Darren Waller because there's talk that he's probably retiring. So it's like that's a hit to the offense as well.
Yep, 100%, man. But let's keep this thing going, man. And coming up next, we're going to talk about which rookie cornerback has a chance to start immediately be an impact guy on the outside, a lockdown corner. So we're going to get into that conversation next.
When it comes to your financial future, you think you've done it all. You've saved, you've researched, you've invested all that you can. Now you need to take those investments to the next level by using what every financial great uses, Yahoo Finance. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or you're looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data that you need in one specific place. Guys, with a community of over 90 million users each month, their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the #1 financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your #1 ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And one of the greatest things about it is with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts that you need at the prices that you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your number one ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Keep your number one ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Rookie cornerbacks, guys, that have a chance to start day one, week one. Keith, I'm going to Baltimore, and I'm going to my guy Nate Wiggins, man. Listening to Eric DeCosta, the GM, talk about him, it sounds like they're really high on this young man. They love what they've seen from him. The work he's put in. I think DeCosta talked about how I think he's came into camp plus 185 in terms of weight. You know what I mean, compared to I think being at 170, whatever he was at the combine, which I was never really that concerned. I was like, he should clearly drop weight to run fast, to run sub 4.3, 4.29. But just from the sounds of it, Keith, I think what we're going to end up seeing, I think he has a perfect opportunity to start because both Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Stevens for the Ravens, who they're two starting outside corners, both have slot ability. Both know how to bump down into the nickel and defend the nickel well, especially losing Geno Stone because they ran a lot of three safety sets, and that put Kyle Hamilton in the nickel. We might see more Kyle Hamilton in the back end playing too high, him and Marcus Williams, to where they bump either in three wide receiver sets, you bump down either Brandon Stevens or Marlon Humphrey into the nickel, and then Nate Wiggins is starting on the outside. I think there's a strong chance that is the case for 2024 for this Ravens team with his speed, his athleticism, his trigger downhill. And they talked about the other thing the coach talked about was like, hey man, like he's coming in and he's willing to put in the work in the weight room to even add a little bit more to his frame. So the character is there, the work ethic is there. I literally tweeted out a video earlier this week, or I think it was yesterday, that I saw from one of our colleagues on Locked On Ravens of him working out with Patriots rookie receiver Javon Baker. And just the process, you just iron sharpening iron. And Nate Wiggins looked good out there in one-on-ones working with him. Just kind of battling between each other. I think he has a really strong chance to start for this team because the thing they need to really improve on is also from the quarterback spot, taking the ball away. And that's a guy who has great hands. He's got kind of receiver ability where he's comfortable triggering downhill, taking the ball, playing at the catch point, and catching the ball with ease. I think he's going to be a starter as a rookie.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happen. DP, I'm gonna go with my guys up north, man. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions. I'm gonna go with Terion Arnold. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ennis Rakestraw, healthy Ennis Rakestraw, I was really close to giving a first-round grade to. They went back I don't know if it was back-to-back picks, right? But they went back-to-back cornerbacks, drafting two cornerbacks in the top, 2-3 rounds. I think both of those guys have a high chance to play as rookies, and simply because that's a positional need, right? Like it was a need. They need guys to play. Terion Arnold, I love what he can and will do in the NFL, and I think they're going to become very versatile with him. I think he's a guy that's going to kick in the nickel. He's going to play some hybrid safety. He's going to play outside. They're going to do a lot of fun things with him, and he has the ability to do it. One of the most impressive things with him is how physical he is as a corner, right? His willingness to blow up, quick screens and things like that, fight over the top of blocks, insert himself in the run game. So I think when you're talking about drafting players that fit a culture, cornerbacks are not necessarily known for being the most physical players, but I think they got two of the more physical corners in this draft that are also high-level athletes that can play man-to-man. So I think they're going to seamlessly fit in with this defense.
No, I love that, Keith. I think both of them have a chance to start, right? When you lose, I forget Cam Sutton, the legal issue, the stuff that went on off the field with him, end up having to cut him. that was already a position of need. They did bring in, I think, what Carlton Davis they traded for from the Bucks and everything like that. But like you said, with Terion Arnold's ability to bump inside to the nickel, you can walk out there and against 11 personnel in nickel and dime situations. You got Carlton Davis at one end, outside. You got Ennis Rakestraw starting on the other. Then they still have Emmanuel Mosley, who is a good corner when healthy, but he just hasn't been healthy throughout his career. He's battled injuries a lot. And then I can see Terion Arnold right into the nickel, especially in dime, where you got him, Brian Branch as two nickel defenders, and then Ennis Rakestraw or Emmanuel Mosley and Carlton Davis. Like, this secondary, from a talent perspective, got a big shot in the arm, from the 2024 NFL draft. And I'm just happy that they did it. I think last year we wanted them to go when they went, I think when they went Jack Campbell and then Jahmyr Gibbs. We thought one of their first-round picks were going to be corner, right? Christian Gonzalez, one of those guys, right? Juju Brents. Like, we thought one of those guys was going to land in Detroit, but they waited a year later. They went ahead and took care of other needs, came back, got and double-dipped. I think it was back-to-back picks, actually, Keith. Round 1 and round 2, they went starting cornerbacks. So I like that call-out as well. Talk to me, Keith. Kool-Aid McKinstry. For the New Orleans Saints. And I saw a tweet talking about just I don't know really what the backstory to it, the Marshon Lattimore stuff, saying that he's like going to be discussed as a trade candidate all the way up until probably week 1. Like, is there a shot that even let's put it like this: if Marshon isn't traded, do you think Kool-Aid starts as a rookie? But I think, of course, if Marshon is traded, you more than likely starting the rookie right out the gate.
Yeah, so looking at the depth chart, DP is slated Marshon on one side, Marshon Lattimore on one side, Paulson Adebo on the other side, Alontae Taylor, who's been playing really good football for them, but he's been doing a lot of different things. Like, he's been sliding in that nickel, just doing some different things for them. So you asked me, can Kool-Aid play? I like his skill set more than a Paulson Adebo right now. And obviously, me being down here, Paulson has struggled, and then some people have said, it's due to injuries and things like that. But I like his skill set, and I think this is a guy that will play. He's gonna play. I think he's gonna play a lot. I think they drafted him to play, and I always talked about this leading into the draft. I thought he was one of the more technically sound cornerbacks, and that's going to show and prove. On a football field, right? In the NFL, right? Playing man against those corners. And this is a defense that, wants to do some different things, but they also want to play man. If I was the Saints, I wouldn't trade Marshon Lattimore because I always talk about, and say it again, right, is having that veteran guy with that young guy for at least a year to be able to show him. I think these guys have very similar skill sets as far as being, fluid hip, quick twitch, good feet, playing man-to-man, right, can locate the football. So I like it in that perspective. But, yeah, I think Kool-Aid, that was one of the guys that I had circled. Kool-Aid, I foresee him definitely playing as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Keith. And I think they have like a $37-something million cap hit if they traded Marshon Lattimore. So if that's the case, yeah, I don't want to burn $37 million. Let's just play this thing out, and then we reevaluate in the offseason, which, again, I don't even know why you would want to trade him, because during his career, he's been one of the better corners in the NFL, right? Like, being one of the few guys that has
when healthy.
Mike Evans. Yeah, when healthy. Correct. That's that. I mean, I think that may be, and that may be the talking point of why they're looking at most likely moving him. But, man, if he's healthy and ready to go this year, I'm riding that thing out, man. Because at the end of the day, Keith, I'm trying to win. You're trying to win the NFC South. Like, I don't think trading Marshon Lattimore is going to help you accomplish that goal. I think it decreases your ability to accomplish that goal. I'd rather keep him, have Kool-Aid, Paulson, and Alontae Taylor, and Tyrann Mathieu in the back end. I'd rather have all those guys, and I could just do whatever I need to scheme up with, in terms of Dennis Allen. So I think Kool-Aid has a real shot to start and play a lot of snaps, even if they do keep Marshon Lattimore, because you got a guy that was he their second round pick? So yeah, because they didn't. Did they have a first? No, they did. They did. He was a second round pick. So it was like, you look at his skill set. He's a starter, like, you know what I mean, and he's an impact player in terms of press man coverage. There's no way in the world I'm not getting him on the field.
Yeah, the last team I want to bring up real quick is the Arizona Cardinals, DP. Them drafting Max Melton and then going with Elijah Jones. I think that's two corners you can see as rookies. And they drafted corners last year, right? And I think that those guys, as far as what they bring to the table, as far as the ability to play in the nickel, play man to man, they have that skill set to play man to man. So I think those are going to be heavy contributors also for the Arizona Cardinals as they try to revamp this defense and do some different things and actually be competitive in training camp. And you be competitive by bringing in more talent and forcing those guys like the cream gonna rise to the top. Iron always sharpens iron. But DP, it's time to move this thing on, man. And what's the conversation we're about to have? How do you value rookie mini camps, right? When the rookies, they're at the mini camps, they're working out. What value do you place on the rookie mini camps? And we're about to have this conversation coming up next.
This next segment is brought to us by our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest, big or small. Certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same thing later this week. Guys, I can tell you right now, the NFL draft is over. We're into rookie mini camps and OTAs. And football is starting to feel real again, right? Before we get to the summer. But it just feels good to put the 2024 draft process behind us and move forward to the 2024 seasons and the 2025 draft class entirely. So therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team. And when it comes to important things to get off our chest, you need to do that every once in a while. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Thank you for making Locked On Info Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Valuing rookie minicamp, right? Because, Keith, at the end of the day, after the NFL draft, once we get to like some type of camp, fans are like, let's go. Like, I need some football back in my life, right? But it's kind of how do you view this thing? And I always view minicamp as like school for these rookies, right? Like kind of just walking in, you don't have as many of the veterans there, pretty much almost at all. And you're just going in there and learning, right? Whether it's learning the playbook, you're learning what what to be asked of you, what position they want you to play, different things like that. And it's not like OTAs and training camp where you're gonna get a lot of the hype videos, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like one-on-ones with receivers and DBs a lot, or a lot of the hype videos with edge rushers and tackles and quarterbacks diming it up, you know what I mean? A lot of full speed things. But I think it's a valuable process because it just helps the rookies come in and just get their feet and find their footing, all right, get their base down. Because it's literally going from being drafted to, oh crap, I'm in my actual team's camp. I'm a professional football player now. That transition happened pretty quickly. It's about, I think, 2 weeks after the draft that rookie mini camp start. So it's like, yeah, you kind of go from this is the best day of my life to, oh, I gotta get that work in now. You know what I mean? I got to go out here and impress the coaches, show that I'm coachable, I'm a quick learner, different things of that nature. I think that's how fans should kind of view and value rookie mini camps.
Yeah, no, I agree with portions of that, right? That it's a learning situation, but it's a learning situation not only for the players, it's a learning situation for the coaches, right? Because what you're doing is you almost want to put them through the gauntlet because you want to start introducing them to different things as far as the playbook, right? But how we go about practice, right? And then also you want to start seeing how could we utilize these guys, right? We evaluated them through the draft process. We feel like they can do this. Now we have to see, right, what we can do with them. So that's what rookie mini camps becoming. So you're talking about, hey, if you're a football fan and you're sitting there looking at rookie mini camps, and it's like, how do I take away some of that stuff, right? Because the coaches are not going to come right out and say, hey, this guy is not learning the playbook or something like that, right? But you take away the small pieces from, the press conferences and things like that. And then also, the clips that people post, and it's like, okay, this guy looks pretty fluid doing this drill and things like that. And I know from my time, and we've had this is an important period because when I was at LSU, and I'll use a guy like Grant Delpit as a true freshman, and I want to say he was even an early enrollee, if I'm right. And so I remember watching him the first day of spring practice and just how he moved out there, how fluid he was. And I was like, this guy got the goods. And that's not for every freshman, that's not for every rookie, right? But when you start to see that, you could pencil in your roster. Like we just had this conversation about which cornerbacks can start early, right? You start penciling in, hey, this player can play early, right? Like he can play for my team. So I think this is definitely a heavy evaluation period for the coaches, because from a mental standpoint, you want to be able to make sure that they can pick up what you're doing offensively or defensively, within whatever system you have. So it's definitely, you have to pay attention to the details, because like you said, it's not as, it's not live drills where it's, 11 on 11 and one-on-ones all day long. So it's not that tangible, but you kind of pay attention to what the coaches are saying. Then you look at some of the clips like, okay, cool. This looks like NFL stuff, right? Like this guy doesn't look lost out here. So we'll be able to elevate him and kind of move him forward as far as him being able to play.
No, I love I love that tidbit, Keith, because it takes you into the mind of a coach, because you were there, you lived that life. You know what I mean? Like you said, to watch Grant Delpit, man. I mean, the amount of riches you had to watch. Grant Delpit, Derek Stingley Jr., Jamar Chase, like all Justin Jefferson, all those dogs that you got a chance to watch. So you know what it's like to be in that situation and see a young kid come in and is like, okay, he can play right away. He might take a little bit, but once we get him there, he's going to be fine. I also think Keith with rookie mini camps too, because you got a lot of undrafted guys that get, invited in, and it's like almost like a workout, a chance for them to impress and say, okay, the coaches have to say, all right, even if he doesn't make the 53, we can practice squad this kid. And he could be a developmental depth piece for us that we can have in the shadows. He give us, think about all the athletic receivers and different stuff, like even athletic quarterbacks, right? When you're facing Lamar Jackson, you have somebody that can just be that practice squad or scout team fast quarterback that's like, contain your lanes, right? Just having those type of guys come in, I think plays rookie minicamp plays a part in that as well. But I definitely love that tidbit on, it's not just the players that have to get, it's a test for the players, it's a test for the coaches as well.
Yeah, and the last point you just made, right? When you're talking about, because we talked about the first round picks, right, with rookie mini camps, but the back end of the roster, right? Like you talked about, practice squad guys. Those are usually the guys you're like, you know what, I could buy something in because they appear to be coachable, right? Like there's something from an intangible standpoint, perspective that I can buy into, that I think I can develop this guy over time. So will he play immediately? Probably not. But if I'm a football coach, I want guys that's going to do their job, right? I'm not trying to babysit. I don't have to tell you work out. I don't have to tell you eat, right? I don't have to tell you get in the playbook, right? So when you look at, because as, they're going to start having cuts, right? Once we get to, August and things like that, and you're like, okay, cool. Who's made the roster? Who's sustained themselves? Usually it's high character guys that have the intangibles that the coaches feel like, hey, is going to work hard. They're good for the locker room. They're good for the culture. So that's another thing to kind of pick up on, is like, hey, who are the coaches talking about are hard workers, right? And looking at the back end of the roster and like, hey, this guy may still be on the team. So it'd be an interesting perspective, man, just to, kind of go through it as, the rookie mini camps. And then, you got all the OTAs. You have all of these things popping up. And I know NFL fans are just trying to, pull piece by piece, right? Like how is this thing going to round out, and what is our team going to look like, and what players are going to contribute for the 2024 NFL season. With DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to say shout out to everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day, man. Go ahead, hit that like button. Don't forget to comment and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel with the hottest NFL draft content. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there, there's my co-host, my guy, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we always like to say, man, y'all come talk to us, because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Sorry for being our everydayers. Listen, guys, you know what I always tell you. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.